Welcome to Untold Thoughts. They say we only use 5% of our mind. Isn't that crazy? But what about the other 95%? The part that decides before you do. The part that remembers what you've forgotten. That's your subconscious, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Also, if you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Hope you enjoy. Today we're going to be talking about how the subconscious runs our life, basically. So science says that 95% of our life is controlled by our subconscious mind, the part of us that runs automatically, beneath the awareness. They state that every habit, every fear, every reaction, they're not decisions we're consciously making. They're programs written long ago, quietly running in the background like noise, basically. So we learned what love is, or what love feels like, what rejection feels like, what success means to us individually. Before we were even 8 years old, the subconscious was wide open and taking in everything as truth. Since the subconscious does not know between right, wrong, true, or false, it just believes whatever we give it, basically. So back when we were young, it took in the tone of our parents' voices, the way they looked at you when you made a mistake, and beliefs that we heard repeated in our home. All of that became the lens through which we now see the world. Which makes sense, because to me, the perception of the world has to go through your own perception. Because your mind is the one viewing. It's not something happening, it's you are perceiving it. So you assign meaning to whatever it is that you're looking at. It's not the other way around. So when you say things like, I can't get ahead, people always leave, or I'm not good enough, those aren't your conscious choices. Those are just echoes. Old programs whispering from the depths of your mind. These are just emotions that were imprinted to us or to you when we were young. And the subconscious does not argue. It just doesn't reason. It doesn't reason with us. It simply accepts what it's been told and works tirelessly to prove it true. Which means our life right now is nothing but the evidence of what we believe underneath our awareness. But here's where it gets, if our subconscious mind was programmed once, it can be reprogrammed again. And here's the tricky part that most of us don't understand. In the beginning, we learned the language we now speak because our subconscious mind was wide open. After 8 years of age, then our subconscious closes the gap and we start gaining what we call consciousness. But our subconscious is still running the show in the background. So if we want to make a chain from 8 years old forward, we learn by repetition. And not just random repetition, but repetition with emotion. So through repetition, emotion, and belief, we can rewrite our internal script. You can teach your subconscious a new story, basically. One that finally can serve us. So there's a quote that I love by Napoleon Hill from the book Think and Grow Rich, which I highly suggest. He once said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. He wasn't speaking about wishful thinking. He was describing the law of the subconscious. So if the subconscious, everything has rules to it. So all we need to do is know the rules and play the game the way it's meant to be played. And what he's trying to say is that your imagination is the language it speaks. What you vividly imagine and feel as real will become a command, and your subconscious begins to shape reality to try and match it. Our conscious mind, on the other hand, works as speaking. That's how we transmit messages. But if we want to communicate with our subconscious, then we have to start paying attention to our attitude, our actions, our thoughts, our emotions, to actually gain a bigger picture of what it is that we're feeling or what program is running in that moment in time. Joseph Murphy, author of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, he wrote, your subconscious mind accepts what you really feel is true. Which means if you're saying that I'm successful, but deep down you feel like a fraud, your subconscious will believe you're feeling over your words. So there's a mismatch. So there has to be a match of your words and your feelings. And that's why affirmations sometimes fail, because the emotion behind them does not match the message that you're trying to achieve. So, to change your subconscious, you must speak the language it understands, which is emotion, repetition, and imagery, which makes sense. That's how we learn everything in life. So, through repetition, you learn most of the sports that you now learn how to play. If it's not sports, then you learn the music or the type of music that you like, and so on and so forth. But you get the point. Carl Jung basically depicted once, or still maybe, I don't know, to some, the father of analytical psychology. He once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Now, he's not just opening the door to a further acknowledging and understanding the power of the subconscious. He's actually stating that the subconscious creates the reality itself that you now live in. So how many of us are living on autopilot? It's just so cool and fascinating to me, thinking life is happening to us when it's actually being created through us. That's a total perspective switch. The thoughts you repeat become beliefs. The beliefs become emotions. Emotions become actions, and actions shape our life. And that's how we shape our own life. So, if we want to really change, don't start with your job, your habits, or your relationships. Start with the story that lives beneath all of them. The story you tell yourself when nobody's listening. The quiet belief that says, I'll never be enough. The background whisper that says, people always hurt me. All of those subconscious programmings that say all of these things, those are roots. And everything else are just the branches. So to change something, you better change the roots, and the entire tree transforms. You can actually begin right now if you practice sitting still, closing your eyes, and visualizing not who you are, but who you want to become. See it, feel it, make it so real in your mind that your body believes it's already true. The way this works is that since your brain or your subconscious doesn't know reality and imagination, it just takes it as real. Both of these scenarios, you're creating the same chemical reactions that you would if the scenario were real. So if you just sit there and make it real in your imagination, your body will think it's being real right now. Therefore, your attitude will change. Therefore, your actions will dictate the future of the outcome. It's because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It only knows what you accept as true. Over time, that new belief becomes automatic. It becomes your new normal. And one day you'll just wake up, you'll look around and realize your life finally matches the image you once created in silence. So remember, you're not a victim of your program. You are both the dream and the dreamer. This is the power of your subconscious mind. And maybe, just maybe, that's why the universe listens most closely when you finally learn to speak to yourself. See you next time, guys.